Exactly.
Oh,
Okay, so
okay.
before we finish up on the things that happened this weekend,
Yep.
Stuttgart, right? So Stuttgart, the women's WTA 500 event there it's a one of a kind, right? It's indoor clay,
Yep.
very
Yep.
in is this guy they have the whole like it's the light on the court, dark in the stands, very
Yep.
indoor arena style feel. It's the Porsche open, if you will. And
Sure.
it's so Porsche open that in the background they keep the three Porsches for the winners, one for the
Right.
singles
Right.
and one and
Lit
then
up,
two for
by
the
the way.
doubles.
And
Lit up.
yeah,
It's like play
strong.
for your
You get
ride.
one of those, by the way,
Yeah.
if you win this thing. Yeah.
And it's always for me it's always a funny event. It's the first proper, European, I guess kind of European clay court event for the women. But
Yeah.
a funny thing happened. The event's still going on, the finals tomorrow, so we've got Aryna Sabalenka again in
Mhm.
another final. She is the metronome for success on the women's tour,
Right.
playing against one Yelena Ostapenko, who
Panko.
I think you made a little. I think you laughed when we talked about Panko a couple weeks ago, and I
Yeah, I
said
did.
I got time for Panko always, and she did the thing that
She
she
did.
does, which
She
is
did.
when she sees Iga, she takes Iga down. Everyone knows the stat by this point. She's now 6-0 lifetime against Iga Swiatek, and Iga could usually hang her hat on like, well, one of those was when I was like first coming up and it was on grass, and the other ones were on hard court. Okay, fine.
Right.
We're on
Right.
Iga's surface. On clay. Take some of that. Panko takes her down in 3 sets, and it should have been two. Um, yeah, it's a very interesting. Like some of it is like a lot is bravado, right? It's like Panko
Right.
just brings this bully energy, almost like taunting her, but then the rest of it is the tennis. Like
Yep.
Panko does some things very specifically well that really feed into one Iga's weaknesses and also a little bit of her insecurities too.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll let you jump
No,
in there.
I want you to actually keep going. I was going to make a point about the other side of the draw with Ekaterina Alexandrova on the other side of things. Um,
Yeah, I'll take it. Like
who took out JPEG and who's playing some good tennis right now.
she's playing good tennis.
You're first of all, it's a matchup issue,
It's a
right?
matchup
And
issue.
Panko, to me, if Yelena plays Iga first round or final, she believes she can beat Iga. It doesn't matter. Name the
She
place,
has
name
no
the
reason
spot.
not to.
No point, no doubt. So my point is so she can pull off a bad week, a bad tournament, saying, "Who's number one in the world? Iga Swiatek. I got this." Like
Right.
goes into that matchup like nobody's business, and I love that. That's a rivalry in itself, right? That that player just has your number. They just have your number. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I feel like, and I don't know the stats per se, and I won't go into all the other players that are like that because this one's so glaring. There's no need to. But I will say it to say she's the perfect foil for Iga, and Iga will have to master this kind of player to truly be a top player. And I feel
Yeah.
like that's a great thing for Iga to kind of get her head around. Iga to me is in this really weird space right now where she's complaining a little bit, complaining about the quantity of matches, complaining about the volume, complaining. She's just not really feeling herself right now with her play. Her game is a little more aggressive, aggressively conservative, I think is the word I want to use, or the phrase. She doesn't play offense. She plays such great defense that it looks like offense. And she reminds me of the Baltimore Ravens back when they had
Well,
Ray
hold on.
Lewis.
Go back to that though. But
Yeah,
I feel like that's kind of the tricky part about Iga though. Like
sure.
she has created this version of herself that exists against players who are like 20 in the world and worse.
Yep.
Like she actually jumps on those players and will
Oh,
play an
yeah.
aggressive brand of tennis. But when he gets into the meat and potatoes, maybe even top 10, that's where you start to see that kind of how you called it, aggressive counter puncher, if you will.
Aggressive defense, whatever
Yeah,
you're going to call it. I'm going to call it aggressive conservative play because let's be honest, her return side is much more aggressive than her serve side, and her quickness and her tracking down of your ball is phenomenal.
yeah,
Penko just has a different kind of a ball, and Yelena absolutely can. Yelena has this ability. Very much like, and I'm going to go back to an old school male player that you may remember Fabio Fognini. And Fabio had the
Hey,
ability.
Fabio's still on the tour. What are we talking about?
Fabio was my absolute. He was the worst nightmare for a bunch of players because Fabio's what you thought was his hard ball was his rally ball, and if he wanted to reach back and smack one a little bigger, he could. And it was just this level of. I think that's as hard as you can hit the ball. Let's take it up a notch. And he could go, and I think Yelena has that. She's got that ability to go just a little bigger whenever she needs it. She can roll when she has to. And Iga, who takes the ball early, almost hits into Pinko's pace. Like, hey,
And
are you trying to hit me? You
that's the weird matchup part.
You're
Like
using my pace against me. You know I got that.
You watch them.
I can slow it down or speed it up. And I love that about her knowing that. And that's why that matchup is so drastic. There was a player years ago, Alvin, that had a winning record against Pete Sampras. And people may not remember my main man, Fabrice Santoro, but Fabrice had a winning record against Pete. Why? Because Pete always went inside out to the backhand, and Fabrice's backhand was ridiculous.
Right.
He had great returns. He sliced the ball back. How did he have a winning record on Pete Sampras? Well, I'll tell you why. It was a great matchup. Now, much different than Iga and Penko. Penko's top 10, top 5 player.
She's a former Grand Slam champion. Like she won
question.
the French Open.
I hate putting that moniker on the female game now because there's so many one and done.
Fair.
However, we will not take that away from her at all. I'm saying top 5 with room to go, right? And she will clearly be a Hall of Fame player down the road. I'm saying it to say she's no Fabrice. He was not in the realm of conversation of top 5. Had the matchup on Pete all day long. Now, imagine you have the matchup on the number 1 or 2 player in the world, 6-0 at last count, as you say.
Yep.
Now, imagine, and you still have room to go, buddy. In my opinion, Penko is one of the spoilers I was talking about that the men's side needs. So they need that player that can beat down that player. I think you mentioned Paul had a good matchup against somebody. I forget was it
Demonor's got
Demonor had that against
too. Tommy Paul against Tommy Paul.
Demonor and Tommy Paul.
But center also. It's not really all that relevant.
But center also different when it's the top player
against Demonor as well. It's very that's more you can explain that one. Yeah. That one makes a lot of sense.
Right.
But I was kind of thinking about it, like with Penko, is it like just an Iga thing, or is it a sign that she's playing well? So I kind of look back to see how she does after playing Iga, and it's kind of all over the board. Like there's a few times where she's lost the very next match, and there's 3 occasions in which she's won the very next match. So it's just kind of like, we ran into her when Matt and I ran into her in Charleston. Yeah. Matt was like, "Oh, she seems to be moving really well right now. She looks like she's pretty dialed in. You didn't see it in the results there, but I think it's showing up now. Like she looked like she was ready to go."